Hello hockey fans, Oddman Rush here and welcome back to another video. Earlier this week, on February 26th, the Kontinental Hockey League saw its 23-24 regular season come to an end. And while a handful of teams were unable to reach the postseason, the remaining 16 sides are on the hunt for a championship, as the 2024 Gagarin playoffs are now well underway. Given that the regular season has already concluded, and given that the league is home to plenty of NHL alumni, let's take a look at the most impressive players amongst them and see just how well they performed during the recent year of play. So in today's video, allow me to take you through my list of the top 10 former NHLers who dominated the Kontinental Hockey League during the 23-24 season. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Josh Leivo. A third-round pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs during the 2011 entry draft, Josh Leivo would suit up in 265 NHL games over parts of 10 seasons split between 5 different teams, where he scored 42 goals and 93 points for his efforts. After spending the recent 22-23 season with the St. Louis Blues, and after potting 16 points in 51 games with the team, the Canadian forward elected to take his talents across the pond, as he signed a one-year contract with KHL side Salavat Yuleev on September 15, 2023. Since then, Leivo made the move to Russia and joined Salavat's roster for the 23-24 season. And though he had never played overseas at any other point in his career, the forward would hit the ground running and then some, as he finished the year with 15 goals and 38 points in just 40 regular season games. Looks like a pretty strong debut to me, folks. Thanks to his point-a-game performance, Leivo's season is still going strong, as Salavat secured the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference and is currently competing in the 2024 Gagarin Cup playoffs. And given his impressive numbers this season, I doubt that Leivo plans on slowing down anytime soon. There's certainly worse ways to start your career overseas, isn't there? Next up at number 9, we have Alexander Radulov. The 15th overall pick of the 2004 draft by the Nashville Predators, Alexander Radulov would spend parts of 9 seasons in the league, split between the Predators, the Montreal Canadiens and the Dallas Stars, notching 144 goals and 368 points in 524 NHL games. Having spent the 21-22 season exclusively with the Stars, and having shown clear signs of regression over the prior few years, the Russian forward would return to the KHL, as he joined Akbars Kazan in 2022. From there, the 4-time KHL MVP would join Kazan for the first time, wear the C on his jersey as captain of the team, and pick up right where he left off, finishing the season with 57 points in 62 regular season games. Talk about leading by example, eh folks? During the 23-24 season, Radulov returned to Kazan for his second year with the team, and while he wouldn't produce quite the same numbers as his debut year prior, the 37-year-old still registered strong stats for his side, thanks to potting 16 goals and 40 points in 58 games. The old dog still has a few tricks up his sleeve, right? With Kazan securing the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, and with the team having lost in the Gagarin Cup finals just last year, both Radulov and Kazan will be looking to go one step further and lift the championship this time around. Will that happen though? I guess time will tell. Moving on to number 8, we have Alex Galchenyuk. The 3rd overall pick of the 2012 draft by the Montreal Canadiens, Alex Galchenyuk would play 654 NHL games over parts of 11 seasons split between 7 different teams, where he potted 146 goals and 354 points for his efforts. After spending the recent 22-23 season within the Colorado Avalanche organization, and after being arrested for some pretty crazy stuff during the 2023 offseason, the American forward elected to take his talents overseas, as he signed a 2-year contract with SKA St. Petersburg on August 25, 2023. After making the move to St. Petersburg, Galchenyuk would join SKA for the 23-24 season. And though he had never suited up in the KHL at any prior point in his career, the forward didn't skip a beat, as he finished the year with a solid 16 goals and 42 points in 61 KHL games. Now that's how you make a first impression, guys. With St. Petersburg securing the second seed in the West, and since SKA have been knocked out in the Western Conference Finals in each of the last 5 postseasons, Galchenyuk is hoping to be the final piece of the puzzle to help St. Petersburg finally go all the way for the first time since 2017. Helping his new side get their hands on the trophy would be quite the successful debut, that's for sure. Now at number 7 we have Mel Grigorenko. The 12th overall pick of the 2012 NHL draft by the Buffalo Sabres, Mel Grigorenko would spend parts of 6 seasons in the league, split between the Sabres, the Colorado Avalanche and the Columbus Blue Jackets, notching 26 goals and 76 points in 249 NHL games. Following his lone year with Columbus during the 2021 season, the Russian forward would head back home and return to a familiar franchise, as he rejoined KHL side CSKA Moscow, the team he had spent his prior 3 seasons with before joining the Blue Jackets. From there, Grigorenko has spent the last 2 years exclusively with Moscow. He has scored 82 points in 105 games with the team, and he has earned plenty of accolades too, including an Olympic silver medal, a pair of Gagarin Cups, as well as playoff MVP during the 2023 postseason. There's certainly worse ways to return home, that's for sure. This season though, Grigorenko rejoined Moscow for his 6th year with the team, and though he has already earned pretty much every single postseason award a KHL player can, the 29-year-old didn't let his foot off the gas, as he finished the season with an impressive 18 goals and 45 points in 59 regular season games. He may not have cut it in the NHL, but Grigorenko sure is consistent back home. Though Moscow have won the Gagarin Cup in each of the last 2 seasons, CSKA won just 30 of their 68 games this year and clinched the 6th seed in the Western Conference as a result. That said, given their cup-winning track record these past few postseasons, and given that Grigorenko has played a pretty vital role in each of those championships, I wouldn't count them out come playoff time, would you? Next at number 6 we have Taylor Beck. A 3rd round pick by the Nashville Predators in 2009, Taylor Beck would play 92 NHL games over parts of 5 seasons between 4 different teams, where he scored 11 goals and 23 points in the process. A rather brief trip to the show, especially compared to some of the other players on this list, but Beck played almost 100 games in the league over a half a decade span. That sounds like a former NHL player to me, folks. After last playing in the show in 16-17, and after playing for 4 different teams during that single season, the Canadian forward would immediately head to the KHL, where he has produced quite the successful career in the many years since. After all, Beck has spent the last 6 seasons exclusively in the K, he has played for 6 different teams during this span, and he has potted 230 points in 318 games in the process. Not bad, Beck. Not bad at all. During the 23-24 season, Beck returned to Eastern Conference side Sibir Novosibirsk for his 2nd year with the team, where he seemingly picked up right where he left off by potting 14 goals and 46 points in 60 regular season games. Despite this strong performance though, Beck's season has come to a premature end, as Sibir finished 10th place in the Eastern Conference and failed to reach the playoffs as a result. Though this will be his first year without postseason hockey since 2018, considering that Beck led his team in scoring by a pretty notable margin, all while playing significantly less games, this result clearly wasn't his fault, was it? Halfway through this list now, at number 5, we have Ryan Spooner. A 2nd round pick in the 2010 draft by the Boston Bruins, Ryan Spooner would take to the ice in 325 NHL games over parts of 7 seasons between 4 different teams, notching 48 goals and 167 points for his efforts. Having last spent time in the league during the 18-19 season, and having played for 4 different teams that year alone, the Canadian forward would make a brief stop in Switzerland before heading for the KHL, as he joined Belarusian side Dynamo Minsk in 2019. From there, Spooner has spent the last 4 seasons exclusively in the KHL. He has suited up for a pair of teams in the league, and he has made a name for himself as quite the productive player, thanks to potting 157 points in 188 games during that span. Given that the KHL is a lower scoring league compared to its North American competition, these numbers are pretty impressive to say the least. This year though, Spooner joined Avangard Omsk for the 23-24 season, and though he was playing for the team for the very first time, the forward didn't skip a beat. In fact, Spooner somehow found another level to his already consistent game, as the 32-year-old finished the year with an impressive 21 goals and 61 points in 65 regular season games. I think he likes his new team, don't you? With Avangard clinching the 2nd seed in the East, and with Omsk having last won the Cup in 2021, Spooner is hoping to finally lift a championship of his own as his new side looks to return to their former glory. And if anyone can help them do it, Ryan Spooner can. On to number 4, we have Jordan Weal. A 3rd round pick by the LA Kings in 2010, Jordan Weal would play parts of 5 seasons in the league split between 4 different teams, where he potted 69 points in 218 NHL games. After spending the 1920 season with the Montreal Canadiens, and after playing the following year exclusively with their AHL affiliate, the Canadian forward would leave North America and head across the pond, as he joined KHL side Akbars Kazan in 2021. Since then, Weal has spent the past 2 seasons in the K. He has split his time between Kazan and Dynamo Moscow, and he has made his mark as a pretty productive player, potting 73 points in 98 games during that span. During the 23-24 season, Weal returned to Dynamo Moscow for his 2nd year with the team, and to say that he improved would be the understatement of the year, as he finished 4th in scoring across the entire KHL with 30 goals and 77 points in just 66 games. Oh, and his 77 points place him 2nd in Dynamo franchise history for the most points scored during a single season of play, which is quite the achievement if you ask me. Thanks to this productive performance, Moscow not only clinched the 1st seed in the Western Conference, they won the KHL's Kontinental Cup as regular season champions, thanks to registering a 31, 16 and 6 record for 98 points in 68 games. I think Weal played a pretty sizable role in this outcome, don't you? Next up at number 3 we have Nikolai Goldobin. The 27th overall pick of the 2014 draft by the San Jose Sharks, Nikolai Goldobin would suit up in 125 NHL games over parts of 5 seasons split between the Sharks and the Vancouver Canucks, scoring 19 goals and 46 points in the process. Having played a single game with Vancouver during the 1920 season, and having spent the rest of the year with their minor league affiliate, the Russian forward would pack his bags and head back home, as he joined CSKA Moscow in 2020. From there, Goldobin would play a few dozen games with Moscow before being traded to Metalurg Magnitogorsk, where he would remain for the next 2.5 seasons, and where he would score 83 points in 120 games with the side. This season though, Goldobin took his talents elsewhere in the league, as he joined Spartak Moscow for the 23-24 season. Luckily for both the player and his new organisation, this move would be money well spent, as the forward finished 3rd in scoring across the entire league with 37 goals and 78 points in 68 KHL games. Not only that, Goldobin's 78 points would also set a new franchise record for the most points by a Spartak player during a single season of play. Just in case you weren't impressed enough already, you know. Since Spartak secured the 4th seed in the West, and since Moscow have never won the Gagarin Cup, Goldobin will be looking to keep up the good work during the postseason and help his team finally reach the promised land. It might be difficult given the quality of their competition, but if they can actually pull it off, Goldobin will earn a very special place in Spartak's history books. Penultimately, at number 2, we have Reed Boucher. A 4th round pick by the New Jersey Devils in the 2011 draft, Boucher would spend parts of 6 seasons in the show split between the Devils and the Vancouver Canucks, where he scored 42 points in 133 NHL games. After playing a single contest with the Canucks during the 18-19 season, and after spending the following season and a half down in the minors, the American forward would make the move overseas and head to Russia, as he joined KHL side Avangard Omsk in 2020. Though he would be traded to Lokomotiv Yaroslavl following his debut year with Omsk, Boucher would return to Avangard for the 22-23 season, and he has scored 130 points in 161 games over the last 3 years. During the 23-24 season, Boucher returned to Avangard for his 3rd year with the team and produced his greatest year yet, as the 30-year-old forward finished 2nd in scoring across the KHL thanks to potting a whopping 44 goals and 78 points in only 64 games. Not only would he lead the league in goal scoring by a pretty sizable margin, Boucher's 44 goals were just 4 shy of tying the league record for the most goals scored in a single season, which was set by league legend Sergei Mozyakin back in 16-17. Oh, and he recorded the 5th highest single season point total in league history, while also marking the highest scoring season ever recorded by an American-born player in the KHL. So yeah, Boucher played pretty well this season. And finally, at number 1, we have Nikita Gusev. A 7th round pick in the 2012 draft by the Tampa Bay Lightning, Nikita Gusev would play 97 NHL games over parts of 2 seasons split between the New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers, scoring 17 goals and 54 points for his efforts. Not the longest NHL career by any means, but reaching nearly triple-digit games in the show and scoring at over a point every 2 game pace is better than most guys who grace the league, so he certainly could have done worse, you know? After an 11-game stint with the Panthers to finish the 2021 season, and after an unsuccessful PTO with the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Russian forward would head back home and rejoin KHL side SKA St. Petersburg, the team he had spent his prior 3.5 seasons with before making his NHL debut. From there, Gusev would play the next 2 seasons exclusively with SKA, where he would score 84 points in 68 regular season games, as well as 28 points in 29 playoff games. Talk about dominant, eh, folks? This year though, Gusev took his talents elsewhere in the league, as he joined Dynamo Moscow for the 23-24 season. And though some expected him to take some time to adjust, the 31-year-old didn't skip a beat. In fact, Gusev somehow took his game to an even greater level, as he finished the year with an astonishing 23 goals and 89 points in just 68 regular season games. While these insane numbers would help him finish as the leading scorer in the KHL, and while he would set a new franchise record for the most points in a season in Dynamo Moscow history, Gusev would also produce the most points ever recorded during a single KHL season, surpassing the previous record of 85 points set by Sergei Mozyakin in 16-17. So not only did he lead the entire league in scoring and help Moscow finish 1st place in the standings, Nikita Gusev produced the single greatest season the KHL has ever seen. If that's not the epitome of legendary, I don't know what is. And there you go. Those were 10 former NHLers who dominated the Continental Hockey League during the 23-24 season. What do you guys think about my list? Are you surprised to see some of the names that were mentioned here, or did I leave someone completely obvious out? Do let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. But thank you so much for watching, guys, I do hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Bexy93, Burned Retinas, Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, Raquel and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.